Hello everyone and welcome back to a new tutorial. Before this tutorial starts, I want to let you guys know that I have a Patreon, so if you guys want to support me and want to have access to this hat shop file and all of my other tutorial files, they will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. The link will be in the description. And yeah, let's get right into it. So first things first, open up Roblox Studio. Let's create a new place. So go to base plate. And I'm going to publish it by pressing Alt P, or you can just do file, save to Roblox as, publish to Roblox, and you can just rename it to whatever you want. I'm going to rename mine to Hat Shop, and I'm going to save this, create, and press close. Now we have this base plate here, and what we're gonna be firstly doing is having a way of displaying some currency, because right now if we join the game we don't really have any currencies. So to do that, we're going to create some leader stats. So add a new script to script service, rename it to leader stats, and I'm going to have a variable for players service. So local players is equal to, and game calling get service players. And after that I'm going to do a function, so local function, and I'm going to call it player added, and that will take the player as an argument. And right here we're gonna do a player added connect and player added. Now this might not work, so before we do that, in here we're gonna add a for I comma v in pairs players get players do, and player added v. And of course v is a reference to the player. And now what we're going to be doing is have a local leader stats is equal to instance.new and folder, and leader stats.name is equal to leader stats. Make sure you spell leader stats right without any capital letters. And leader stats.parent is equal to, and obviously we're going to parent our leader stats to the player. Now what this does, instance.new is basically a way of creating something. So if you want to create a folder but not manually, you can code it at instance.new and you can give it an instance. So in this case we're going to create a folder. By the way, this folder can be anything. It can be a model, anything, and it will still work, but it's best to keep it as a folder. And now if you play the game, you should see that we don't have any leader stats yet, but if we go here, we have a folder called leader stats inside of our player object. Now that is good, and what we're going to be needing is creating some currency. So our currency will be coins, and that will be instance.new again. So we are creating, and this time it's not going to be a folder, it's going to be an int value. Int value. And coins.name is equal to coins, and coins.value is going to be 100. This is going to be our default coin value, and coins.parent is equal to leader stats. Now we are basically creating an int value, renaming it to coins, setting its default value to 100, and parenting it to leader stats. Now any value that's parented to our leader stats folder will be displayed right here in our stats, our player list. And as you can see, it says coins and it shows the value, which is of course 100. Now that is great, we have our leader stats working. So close that script, make sure you save each time you do something, and I'm going to make sure that I'm still recording. Yes. And what I'm going to be doing now is go to replicated storage, add a folder, and rename it to hats. Now we're gonna have a let's have a folder inside of this, and I'm going to rename this to maybe Dominus. Maybe let's just rename it to hat with a capital H, and we're gonna have a int value inside of this, and we're gonna rename it to price. And this, you can set this to whatever you want. I'm going to set it to 10. And I'm going to have that's basically it. We will just need the price, and after that we're gonna need our actual hat. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead, open up Roblox, So I'm just going to go to roblox.com, and what you want to do is go to avatar shop and check a hat. So I'm going to go for the Dominus Aureus, and in here in the link you can see the ID of our hat. Now you can go ahead, download a plugin called I think it was called Insert Asset. I'll leave the link to it in the description, and you can just paste in the ID that you just copied by pressing Ctrl+C and just press confirm, and it will insert that exact same mesh into your workspace. Now if I go ahead and play the game right now and just go to server mode and get this hat and put it inside of my character, as you can see it equips it, and yeah, that's pretty good. But we want this to be done from a script when a player purchases the hat. So put the hat mesh inside of the folder, the hat folder, and I'm going to rename this to mesh or hat mesh, and I'm going to rename this hat folder to Dominus1 or Dominus Aureus. I think it was called Aureus with an E here. You can rename it to whatever you want, by the way. Doesn't really matter. Dominus Aureus, and I'm just going to go back here, and what I'm going to do is inside of Star GUI, I'm going to create a screen GUI, rename it to main SS for main screen GUI, I mean main SGE. And I'm going to have a frame in here, and I'm going to resize it to, actually before I resize it, I'm going to go to, actually, I'm really sorry for that, just resize it, and download this plugin, this very helpful plugin called, I think it's called, yes, unit conversion. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Press unit conversion, plugins, unit conversion while selecting your frame, and press size scale. Now after doing that, that should convert your frame to scale. This will convert the size from offset to scale. Now what this does is basically, when it's offset, okay, let me just put this back to offset. If I go to a mobile view, as you can see, it looks like this, and this is very bad. We want this to be scale, and if we just press scale, as you can see now it's resized correctly. Now you should also add a constraint, but I'm not going to be doing that yet until I'm done with my UI. I'm going to add a UI corner to make it look a bit pretty, and I'm going to set the corner radius to 0.03, 0, and I'm going to rename this to shop, and I'm going to add a scrolling frame, and I'm going to position it right here, and make sure to convert this to scale 2 so that the same thing does not happen, and change the border size pixel to 0 so that it looks better. I'm also going to change the scroll bar thickness to something like 2 or 3, and also you can mess with the canvas size, but that means that you'll also have to mess with the list size. Let me show you what that means. Inside of your scrolling frame, add a UI list layout, and just not set in the padding yet, and add a frame inside of our scrolling frame, and I'm going to set the background color to a light gray, and I'm going to scale my frame however I want. Now I'm going to go to my UI list layout, and I'm going to make sure that the horizontal alignment is set to center so that it centers our frame, and I'm going to make sure to add a UI corner to this too so that it looks much better. And I'm going to rename this frame to templates. Now if we duplicate this frame, it will place it automatically, but we need a bit of space between each one. And before you do that, delete your old frames, select your template, convert it to scale, and as you can see, it will mess up the size a bit, but doesn't really matter, just scale it down again. Now, it doesn't really matter when you have your canvas size set to 2, but if you just go ahead and set your canvas size, by the way, canvas size is basically how big our scrolling frame is, like how many templates it will contain. Like if I put like 100, you won't be able to scroll anymore, and we don't want that to happen. So select our scrolling frame, and I'm going to set the canvas size to something big, like 10. And as you can see, our scale is messed up again. So select your template, go to size, and basically just keep on adding zeros to the Y value. I'm going to have it set to maybe 0.01, and that works, but I might want it to be a bit bigger, so 0.011. 0.014 should do. 0.0, let's go for 18. Yes, 18 looks perfect. And I'm just going to add a text label, and I'm going to resize it, center it, go to plugins, unit conversion, scale, and go to the background transparency, change it to 1, and go to the text scale property, make sure that's checked. And I'm going to change the text to nothing or nil. And I'm going to also change the font. I'm going to go for Roboto, or maybe, yeah, let's just keep it at Roboto. And I'm going to add a, also select your label, make sure it's converted to scale. Mine is already converted. Add a text button, position it, rename it to buy. By the way, rename your text label to label or item, or just rename it to label. And I'm going to have my buy button color to a nice green, and I'm going to set the text to buy, all caps, and I'm going to have the text color set to white so that it blends in a bit better. And I'm going to change the font to Roboto, and I'm going to also change the text stroke so that it looks actually that looks very ugly. Change the text, or maybe the background color should fix it. We just go for a darker color, and yes, that does fix it. And I'm going to add a UI corner to it so that it doesn't look ugly. 0.1, that looks good. Looks good to me. Now we're gonna make sure that this is converted to scale too. And now we have some UI. Now before we end this, I'm going to duplicate my label, put it inside of the shop frame, and I'm going to just position it right here on top. And I'm going to set the text to shop, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm just going to make sure that our template is invisible, but before we do that, we're going to duplicate our template a couple of times, and we're going to go to our UI list layout and mess around with the padding. Make sure you just mess around with the scale, don't touch the offset. Set the scale to 0.01, 0.008, 0.004. Yeah, that looks good, but I'm going to go for 3. Yes, I'm good with that. And now you can make our template invisible. That's good. Now we're gonna add a local script to our shop and rename it to shop_client. And now you wanna create some variables. So local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage. Replicated storage. Now we're gonna create a variable for our hats. So local hats is equal to replicated storage. We're gonna wait for child hats. Now what this does is, so local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage. That's basically a reference to replicated storage without using game.replicated storage. and hats is basically just a reference for our hats folder. And by the way, make sure you use wait for child, because you should never do this on the client. You should never do replicated storage.hats, because it might not be loaded and it will just break everything. So make sure you do wait for child hats, so that it waits for the hats folder to be loaded and added to the game. Now what I want you to do is go down here and create a for loop. So for I comma v in pairs hats colon get children, do if v dot actually we don't really need any if statement. We'll check we're gonna have some variables up here. Local temp is equal to script dot parent colon wait for child scrolling frame. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna create a reference for our scrolling frame. So local staff is equal to, or maybe let's just set this to scrolling frame is equal to script dot parent colon wait for child scrolling frame. Now local temp is equal to scrolling frame colon wait for child template. Now we will clone our template here. So local cloned temp is equal to temp clone, and clone temp dot parent is equal to scrolling frame. But before we do that, we'll rename our clone temp dot name to v dot name, and after that we'll do a couple of things here. So clone temp dot label dot text is equal to, and v dot name dot a space, and actually price dot and space. Actually put your space here and do v dot price value, and that should work. Now that's basically it. If you play the game right now, nothing will happen because we are not making our frame visible. So cloned temp dot visible is equal to true, and if you play the game right now, that should work. As you can see, we have a anonymous ors price 10. Now that works, but what we want is the buy button to work. So we'll also add equipping and unequipping our hats. So we're gonna create a variable for our buy button. Actually, we can just code it from here. So buy button clone temp dot buy dot mouse button one click on connect function, and here is where things get a little harder. So just go to replicated storage, go add a folder, rename it to remotes, and we're gonna add a remote function. Now rename this remote function to buy, or maybe buy hat, capital H, buy hat. Why is it not typing a capital H? Now when we press this, we'll check. Actually, we don't need any check-in. I'm gonna do local result is equal to, and game replicated storage dot remotes, or just do replicated storage. Okay, let's create a variable for this. Local remotes is equal to replicated storage colon with child remotes. Now this result will be equal to remotes dot by hat colon invoke server, and this will take an argument which will be v dot name. And after doing that, enter your leader stats script, copy these 3 lines where we are creating a folder, paste it here, and rename it to owned hats, and then create a string value local. Let's rename this to current or equipped hat is equal to instance.new, and that will be a string value. Equipped hat dot name is equal to equipped hat, and equipped hat dot parent is equal to player. Now equipped hat dot value equipped hat dot value will be equal to nil. To just offset the value, that's basically it. Now add a server inside of server script service, rename it to remote listener, or just remote, maybe just hat shop server. And we're gonna have a couple of variables. Local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage. And by the way, when you are dealing with server sided, when you are basically creating references in the server, you don't really need any wait for childs, because you just don't need them because they're already loaded when this runs. So local hats is equal to replicated storage dot hats, and that's pretty much it. Now just do game replicate, or let's create a remote folder. Remotes is equal to replicated storage dot remotes, and remotes dot by hat dot on server invoke is equal to function, and that will take the player and the hat name. Now in order to check if this hat actually exists, we'll do if hat find first child hat name, then else we're not going to do anything, else return, or just don't do anything really. Now if we find the hat and the hat actually exists, what we're gonna be doing is checking if the player owns the hat, or let's make sure that we check if the player does not own the hat and has enough money to purchase it. So if not player dot hat not owned hat find first child hat name, and not player, and player dot equipped hat dot value is not equal to hat name, then we can buy the hat. But before we do that, we're gonna create a variable up here, local local buying currency, or currency is equal to coins. You can change this to whatever you want depending on your game. Now if player dot leader stats square brackets currency dot value is greater or equal to the hat to okay, let's create a variable for this. Local hat is equal to hat confined with child and hat name. Now we'll just check if the player's currency dot value is greater than hat dot price dot value, then we can equip our hat. So then we can buy our hat. So just copy this line of code, paste it here, and change it to minus equal instead. And after doing that, we'll just equip the hat. So local cloned hat is equal to hat confined for child hat mesh clone. Now cloned hat dot name is equal to equipped hat, or let's just rename it to current hat, just current hat, and cloned hat dot parent is equal to, and we're gonna parent it to our to the player's character. So player.character. Now what if this character does not exist? So to do that, I'm gonna do and player right here, player, actually do this, put it here, and player.character is not equal to nil. Then, and right here, when we parent our hat to our character, that should equip it. And that's pretty much it. We're gonna create a string value, so local val is equal to instance.new, and a string value, and it will be parented, val.parent is equal to, and the player.owned hats, and val.value, actually val.name is equal to, and hat name, and that's pretty much it. Actually, set your player.equipped hat.value will be equal to the hat name. And now purchasing should work. Should be able to purchase our hat if we can afford it. So we have our owned hat folder that I don't see because we did not rename this to owned hats. So owned hats. Now if you play the game, that should work. Let's make sure that we don't have any errors. No errors yet. We can hopefully buy our hat. And as you can see, we have a Dominus equipped. We can't really see it right now because, well, why am I stuck in first person for some reason? Anyway, we can't. Now this is going to be annoying. Shift F5, and that works. Okay, it did equip my hat. You couldn't really see it there because this frame was blocking it, but I did see a tiny part of the Dominus. Now, when we purchase the hat, we will basically return that we bought the hat, so bought. And now, else if the player, oh, actually don't put this here, by the way, put it here after the second and, after the first and, else if we find the hat, player.owned hats, gonna find first child, hat name, and the equipped hat, and player.equipped hat is not equal to the hat name, then we can just equip it. So basically just copy all of this without copying the part where we subtract the price from the player's coins. Now do this, but before we do that, I realized that we need to unequip other hats. So for I, v in pairs player dot character get children do if v dot name is equal to and current hat, then v colon destroy. Now copy this for loop, paste it right here, and then we're gonna return equipped. So return equipped. Now, by the way, right here, put an else and just return false. And that's basically it. Now, what if the player dot owned hats? What if the player owns the hat? Just copy this, by the way, paste it here. What if we own the hat and we currently have it equipped? So change this to an equal sign. Then what we want to do is unequip the hat. So we don't need to do anything at this point. We can just copy this and paste it here. Now this should work if we just put an if statement here. If result not name, if result is equal to bought, then clone temp dot buy dot text is equal to and all caps, equipped. Okay, I just realized something. Go back here. And right here, instead of equipping the hat, we want to just remove it and rename and return equip. Now, set this to equipped, and right here, we're gonna do else if result is equal to equip. I think it was equip, right? Yes, equipped. Actually was bought, then equipped, then equip. Okay, if it's equal to equipped, then same thing. Else if result is equal to equip, then content.text is equal to and equip. And after that, else if result is equal to false, then clone_temp.text.by.text is equal to, and this time it's going to be by. Now that should work, hopefully. And also I'm going to go to start GUI, player GUI, main SS, select my shop. I'm going to buy this. And as you can see now, it says equipped. And if I just make sure that this is invisible, we have our dominance equipped. We can do this again, and it unequips it. We can equip it again, and nothing happens. And that is bad, because we don't want that to happen. Okay, very simple to fix. We have our equipped hat value still set to our current hat. So all you have to do in this case is just copy this and set that to an empty string. Now if you play the game, that should work, hopefully. So players, main SS, shop, visible. I'm going to buy this, equipped. We have it equipped. Unequip it, and we have it unequipped. We can equip it again. It says equipped, and we have it equipped. I just said equipped like 100 times, but that's not really a problem, because our shop is working. Now, what if we add other hats? So let's just go back to Roblox. Let's just go back to the avatar shop and add another hat. Let's just add this random hat. Copy the ID, duplicate your hat, your old hat, and rename this one to, I don't know what's called. I don't know, the frozen thing, and just set the price to something like 20. And I'm just going to remove my old hat mesh and go to plugins, insert, paste in the ID, load in blue pumpkin head, the frozen, put it here, and rename this to hat mesh. Now if you play the game, that should hopefully work. And as you can see, we have this and this. And we can just go to our player GUI, main SS, shop, visible, false, or true. So I'm going to buy this. And as you can see, we have this hat equipped. We can unequip it. And now it says equip, and we don't have to purchase it anymore. And we can buy another hat. And now this says equipped, but this still says equipped. But the point is, it's not buggy. I mean, it kind of is. What am I saying? Just go back here. And what we're going to be doing in here is, when we are saying that something is equipped, by the way, change this to unequip. Unequip. And do the same thing here. Unequip. And whenever we say unequip, we want every single other. Okay, add a for loop here for I comma in pairs. Scrolling frame can't get children. Do if v.name is not equal to template, obviously template, because we don't want our to apply this to our template. But if it's not equal to our template, then what we want to do is just let me think of this. We'll check if the player actually owns the hat. So if it's not equal to our template and it's not equal to our clone template and v is not equal to our cloned template, clone temp, then we're gonna set the we're gonna check if the player owns this. So we're gonna create a reference to our player right here. Local plr is equal to game.players.local player. Now in here, if plr dot owned hats can't find first child v dot by the way, change this to hat to temp instead, and change this here and this temp dot name. Then we're gonna set the temp dot. Okay, I just realized something. We rename this to for underscore comma for I comma template instead, so that the script does not get confused, and take this temp for this one. Now template dot by dot text is equal to equip, hopefully. Yeah, equip. Let's go for equip. And else, if he does not own it, we're gonna set the template dot by dot text to buy. Just buy. Now hopefully that works. Just copy this, put it here, and we're not going to do it here. Yes, just don't do it there. If we, when does it return equip? Okay, just paste it here too. That's pretty much it. Now if you play the game, that should work, hopefully. Main SS shop, visible. We don't have any hats, we can buy this one, and we have it equipped. Or we can unequip it, and it says equip. And now we can equip it, and we can buy this one. And oh god, this happened again. And I'm really not sure why. Okay, buy is not a valid member of. Okay, that is very simple to fix. Shop.screenframe.ui list layout. What I just did was very stupid because I did not check, and not vcon is a frame, which was pretty stupid. Do the same thing here. That's done. Now go here, try that out again, so we can buy this, and same thing. Okay, make sure that remove this not. Another stupid thing I did. And now that should be it. Now we can buy this, and as you can see, we have it equipped. We can now unequip it. It says equip. We can equip it. We can buy this. Oh, why did it happen again? Now that's bad, because we want. Okay, now this is a bit tricky to fix because. Okay, so we are checking, we're looping through every template on this coin frame. We are checking if the name of the template is not equal to template, and the template is not equal to our current template, and vcon is a, oh. Change this to template, and that should hopefully work. Hopefully. I'm pretty sure it should work this time. Alright, we can buy this, we can equip it, can buy now this, and yes, it works. It freaking works. Let's go. Now you can just spam click and everything works, no bugs. And I will do one last finishing touch for this, and it's basically just adding a text button for opening and closing this shop, so that we don't have to do all of that again. I'm just going to change the text to shop and make sure that this is scaled, and I'm going to add a UI corner to this, and I'm just going to add a local script.parent.mouse button click on connect function, script.parent.parent.shop.visible equals not script.parent.parent.shop.visible. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's tutorial. If this helped, please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I will see you all in the next video. And bye.